Good morning. Welcome to the 49ers Pregame Show. I'm Grant Cohn. That's Coach Noah Johnston, who needs to turn the audio down just a little bit on his computer. It's a little bit of a feedback. The Niners play tonight at Levi's Stadium. I'm going to be there. But for now, let's get a show in before the football games start today. We're going to do a bunch of predictions, player for player, in case you're a fantasy football player. But first, we're going to talk matchups. What are the matchups you're looking forward to, Coach?
I'm going to say the first one that jumps out to me is actually the 49ers receivers versus the Green Bay corners, because I think their corners are very good. Obviously, everyone knows Jair Alexander. A guy that I've touted and has played really well is Eric Stokes, who's we
broke him down before the draft.
Georgia. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
He's played very well. He's a guy with a lot of speed that can play man to man. And then you have and then you have King. All right, King's a big corner. I don't think it's the other two, but he's a solid corner. They have three good corners.
No doubt.
Right. So I think a lot's been said about, how can Green Bay hold up against run? Can Green Bay rush the passer with the injury to
Darius.
Right. But they still have really good corners, so they can blitz, they can do some things to generate pressure that the Niners necessarily couldn't because of they've got safeties, but I would say they don't really have ideal corners. But that's the number one matchup I'd be looking at, and so I think to me that matchup it's kind of a wash. So, I think you've talked about it before. I think it's got to be where the Niners can really take advantage are their tight ends, right? Their tight ends, Green Bay linebackers, and I'm not just talking about right. Like there's a guy out there that hasn't caught a pass yet.
Ross Dwelley. Thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're trying to get the ball to 85. No. He is a blocker now and a decoy, a very expensive decoy. They're trying to get what they're setting up is Ross Dwelley 82.
They should just use the 49ers receivers as the decoys and then abuse the Green Bay linebacking and safeties with Dwelley and Kittle.
Because really, the only way Jimmy's getting the ball down the field this season so far is that 15-yard area over the middle. And he's getting that with Debo coming across. He can also hit that spot with Dwelley going up the seam or 85. Kittles. He could do that too, although he's fumbled twice this season, so you can't really trust him. You might want to go to Dwelley because of the hand. You could trust him. But the point stands. That's different ways to attack that area of the field.
Yeah, I think the Green Bay secondary is very capable of taking away Debo if they want to. I think Jair is very capable. He's more than capable of taking away Debo if.
Agree. And in terms of getting the ball down the field, I think if Debo's going to make an impact in this game, it's going to be the way he did in the past, where it's getting the ball behind the line of scrimmage and breaking tackles. Because I don't know how good at tackling.
You can take away some of that stuff just by alignment. Though, if they press him, you really can't do. It's going to be difficult to throw those kind of screens.
No, but you can give him an end around. Those kind of
things. You could.
Yeah. But I'm saying they could limit him to that kind of stuff. And so where is your downfield passing game? It's called Ross the Boss. That's what it's called. I'll see if they figure it out.
Right.
I don't know.
Or you can start giving the ball to Juice too. I mean, I think that's the matchup where they can take the advantage. And then obviously it's been probably talked about to death this week is the 49ers D-line versus the Packers O-line. I mean, they absolutely have to win that matchup with injuries that have happened there. It's prime example is kind of what happened in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. The Bucs did not let the Chiefs off the hook with that, right?
That's a great example. That's if the Niners win this game, it should look kind of like the Super Bowl. The only difference is instead of Patrick Mahomes running really well from side to side, you'll have Aaron Rodgers getting sacked.
Yeah, I think the difference in that is though, and it's interesting, right? Because we talk about 2019 vibes and all that stuff. Is if you had flipped that game and put the Niners and even the 2019 Niners team in last year's Super Bowl, would the 49ers have won that game? And the thing,
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either. But the point what I'm trying to make is that, yeah, the Bucs defense played really well, but the Brady and the offense didn't give off the hook. Like, they performed, right? So like when your defense is kicking the teeth in with the other team, in order to generate that kind of score, and your offense has to perform as well. Otherwise, it's just going to be a close game, and then anything can happen.
Otherwise, it's just what the Niners did last week. Tommy says, I have a bold take. Lance has a 50-yard house call. I like the phrase house call. What is a house call? Like
touchdown.
No, but like, what is a house call? Is it like when like a doctor comes to check on you because
I don't. That's a good. That's a good point. Like, I don't know. Oh, to the house.
House call. Yeah, I know. I know how it evolved, but there is such thing as a house call, right?
Right.
Anyway, I like it, Tommy. We're gonna do bold takes right now, and we're not gonna start with Lance, but we're gonna build up to Lance. We're gonna start with the starting quarterback of the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo. What is your prediction for him today? He could have a big game. Real quick, hold on. Let me just lay it out before you just rain on my parade, because I'm a big Jimmy Garoppolo fan. Jameis Winston threw for 5 touchdowns against this defense, and Jared Goff didn't win, but completed like 70% of his throws and looked really competent. Jimmy's better than them. So what do you think from Jimmy this week?
I think Jimmy needs to have he needs to play well. Like, he can't be an afterthought. I think he's got to be. He can't. His stats can't be
187 yards
or 190 yards. I mean, unless the 49ers run for 300 yards or 200, but I don't see that happen.
How's that going to happen?
Yeah, like,
I mean, I'm not suiting up today, so I don't see how they're going to be able to run for that many yards. They need bodies.
I think he's got to have 250 plus. And
the thing is, he had 300 against the Lions, but like 80 of that was on one throw that was really a much better catch than a throw. And if you take that away, he's giving a very meager output right now. It's like, you know what I mean? He's going to have to really, I don't know, find a way to earn that 300. He's not going to be throwing down the field that much. He's going to rely on yards after the catch his whole career, but he's going to have to probably push the ball down the field a little bit today.
And I think that first interception is coming, and it may come tonight. And will it cost the 49ers? And I'm not, and it may not be, because all quarterbacks are going to throw interceptions. It's just a matter of time. But it can't be multiple interceptions, and it can't be a bad interception. It can't be to a linebacker in the flat and then he takes 6.
Right.
If he ends up like 18 of 25 for 260 and 2 touchdowns and an interception, like, to me that'd be a solid game. But it can't be 10 of 18 for 197, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. It can't be that kind of stat line.
I've been thinking a lot about why he struggled in camp so consistently this year and has really played pretty mistake-free football so far. I think when a defense faces Jimmy Garoppolo more and more, they get the advantage, because what they realize is, like, you don't really have to play him honest. You can squat on everything. You know where the ball's going. The linebackers in the flat, ball's coming to you. The ball's coming out quick. Be ready for it. And corners on the outside don't really honor fades, outbreaking routes. I mean, you expect the curl, expect the stop, expect the dig, and I think after a few off seasons playing Jimmy Garoppolo, a lot of these guys on Fred Warner, Jason Verrett, they really know how to defend him. And then you go against a team like Philly, it's like, guys, what? Well, I think they did a pretty good job. I guess it was more the Lions. I think as you see teams that have faced Jimmy Garoppolo before, they have a better sense of what to do. And then you're going to see like the balls go up for grabs like they did in camp.
Well, the other thing in camp, and remember, what's the one thing in camp you said it's really hard to judge and it's really difficult to judge in camp?
The run game.
Yeah. So the defense isn't really worried about run game in camp.
Exactly.
Right. So
great point.
And when does Jimmy excel is when they can get that run game kicked into high gear, and then he can run all that stuff.
Play with the lead,
respect that.
run game working, and play action. Yeah, and pretty much most quarterbacks excel in that situation.
Yeah, and I think in this league, what you have to be able to do is, as a quarterback, the ones that are really admired and the ones that can win you games are the ones when there's not a running game, can make plays.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
and
guys who can get big plays from the pocket or outside the pocket, and that's not him. He's sort of evolving into a quarterback who just sort of takes what the defense gives him, kind of like Mac Jones.
And
just a relentless string of checkdowns.
Yeah, and so like if the Green Bay takes away the run tonight, what is Jimmy gonna do? And can he?
Right, are you gonna throw 50 times for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns and really score, lead the team, be the driving force of the offense, or will you try to push the ball down the field, throw ducks, get intercepted? Because the thing with Jimmy, it's not just that he doesn't see the linebackers underneath. It's that when he does try to push the ball down the field, which is so infrequent, the ball floats and it's in the air a long time. And if guys were open, DBs recover. If he doesn't throw with a ton of anticipation, it's an interception. I don't know if he was experimenting or trying to see what he could get away with in camp, but he learned I can't do that. And I think he's taken that information, he's filed it away, and you're seeing what he's doing with that in these games. He's staying employed. If
he makes that throw, the same throw he made to Debo in the Lions game, and Jair Alexander is the corner on Debo.
Or yeah, I mean, what if Debo Samuel hadn't made that beautiful pass breakup that was going right to Steven Nelson against that could have been a pick six. That was what those were Shanahan's words. Could have been a pick six. So yes, it's real clear. It's a mechanics thing. I don't know what it is, but when he was with the Patriots, I thought he had a zip on his throws. He never had a nice
set his feet. He doesn't set his feet.
He doesn't set his feet. All he does is just stand flat-footed and flick the ball like he's a second baseman throwing to first base. And that's really what he wants to do, is throw passes that are about that long. But if you're a third baseman, if you're a shortstop, you really need to get your whole body into the throw. And he doesn't throw like that anymore. Everything's just, I don't want to do the Jimmy Garoppolo impression, but he's just flat-footed, and that's great you can see he's got that great quick release on the stuff over the middle. But anytime you have to throw more than like a ball that travels more than 15 yards in the air, it's slow motion. It's slow motion for me. Slow motion for me.
Slow motion for me. And I don't I would love to be in a coach. Like, are they on him for that? Like,
I don't think so.
Are they right? And that's a problem.
That's a problem. I think when I talk to coaches about this, they always come back to, well, who's his quarterback coach? Fans don't really ever talk about position coaches, but they're very important. And if you have a good one like Chris Kosarick, you don't put up with stuff like this. People improve and they have good technique. I'm just saying, I think when Jimmy was on the Patriots, he had better technique and they probably had higher standards over there, better positional coaches. I've talked about Scangarello before. Who is he? Where'd they get him? I don't know who he is. They have some superstar position coaches on this team and he's not one of them. What? Can you get someone better? Mike had Kubiak. That was his quarterback coach. Obviously a hell of a coach. Kyle, where's your Kubiak, man? You don't have one. It ain't Scangarello. It ain't. I'll tell you that. It could be me.
Yeah, you
could be coach.
You want this young kid, Lance, you don't want Lance doing that, not stepping into his throws, and because it affects accuracy, it affects arm strength. Like we all know Jimmy doesn't have the strongest arm, but if he stepped into his throws, he might be able to make some of those deep throws. It's the reason why his balls are high.
Yes, exactly. And Kyle makes excuses for it, which makes me feel like, now you're making excuses for Jimmy. You're trying to trade him. I'm just saying. Prediction for Jimmy.
And maybe it's because they're not on him to fix it. Maybe Kyle should be like, listen, this is us here. We're not on him for that. But if you take him, you can fix this because you can coach him up and you can tell him to step into your throws, and then he's going to be a great quarterback. So
I know it should be a point of emphasis, but the emphasis on the 49ers is Kyle's system. Did you learn it? Do you know the plays? How well do you know Kyle's plays? Gold-Blooded says house call. It's like 1-800-COLLECT. Trey gets a free call, and the Packers have no choice but to accept the charges. I like that. If anyone can tell me what a house call is, I'm looking to know because I'm stumped at a house call. Let's move on. More predictions. Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon is probably going to start today. Let's paint the picture real quick, though. 3rd round pick, they traded up for him. He played mostly in spread offenses with zone read quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray. It looked like he was like a pairing with Trey Lance, who didn't win the starting job. Okay, week 1, buried. He is inactive. They think he's the worst running back on the team. That's what they think. Then everyone gets hurt. He finally gets his first carry. It looks good until, boom, knocked out. Not his fault, but that was 7 days ago. And he's starting 1 carry, 1 fumble, 1 concussion. That's the backdrop. What do you think? 25 carries, 150 yards, 3 touchdowns today?
I think the Niners are going to be able to run the ball, and between Trey Sermon and is it Jaquez, right? Jaquez,
I think, and carry on.
I don't think it matters. Matters. I think this running game, it's plug and play, and that's why I don't like investing a lot of capital in the running backs. I think that they do a great job between scheme and coaching and finding talent. Like you don't need to spend a lot of capital in running backs, and I think they're going to prove it tonight. I think they're between all those guys. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. I think Sermon will have a good game.
I think the reason that Sermon was buried on the depth chart, beside the fact that he's the least explosive of their running backs, I think he was fumbling in practice.
Yeah, that probably is.
So, and then he didn't fumble. I mean, he got hit in the head. So, if they had like trust issues with him, do you see him getting 20 carries, or do you see this being kind of like a committee where he kind of give everyone a carry early on and see who you trust the most and feel it out?
Committee, if and see who gets hot, who's hot. If Sermon is having fumbling issues, then is he you test him and see is he protecting the ball?
Right.
Because if he has if he was having fumbling issues in camp and then his first carry fumbles,
that's got to be something that's got to be on their mind, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure with a guy like Bobby Turner, old school coach, not just old school coach. I think all running back coaches, like if you fumble, they're not going to play you. Right. So hopefully he gets that fixed, and it's flexible.
Here's one reason why he should get the bulk of the carries if you're a fantasy football player. He knows the offense much better than the other running backs. Like, he's been here since May, so he should know the offense better than the other guys who've been here since last week.
I think
if you can go, they could use you, man, because I think they could just do more with Trey Sermon.
True, but I think the Bengals use Kyle's system, so the terminology is probably very similar.
Good point.
So I'm sure I think Jaquez is capable of executing probably a good amount of the play. Like he probably doesn't have as big a good grasp as Sermon, but I think he probably can execute a good amount. That's probably one of the reasons why they took him off of that roster, not just because he's capable, but he probably because of the system that he's going to know some of it.
Okay, give me a stat line prediction right now.
For all the running backs?
No, for Sermon, and it needs to be correct. Like, get this right.
10 for 80.
Okay, 10 for 80. The Jalen Hurts line. I like that. Any touchdowns?
1.
Okay, I like that. Thank you for humoring me here. Who cares about Kerryon Johnson? I don't care about Kerryon. Are we not gonna do Kerryon? What, like 3 carries?
Let's not carry on about Kerryon.
I told my wife his name. She's like Kerryon luggage? I was like, yes, Kerryon luggage, pretty much. Okay, George Kittle. George Kittle is a captain on this team. He's supposed to be the best player on the team. He's the highest paid offensive skill player. He's paid like a wide receiver. He used to produce like a wide receiver, but so far they're only giving him targets like behind the line of scrimmage or right at it, which isn't his fault. And he's having to break all the tackles and get all the yards himself, which he does. But he's not having a great year, and he isn't scoring touchdowns. And I think fantasy owners are very frustrated. So what do you think for George Kittle? This has got to be the day, like week 3, slow season start, home opener, prime time. Like if he isn't featured heavily in the game plan, If I were his agent, I would call up and be like, what's the deal? I would say something like that. What's the deal?
What's the dealio?
What's the deal?
The corners, like I said, the corners should be able to take away the 49ers wide receivers. So the matchup, it's Juice, it's Dwelly, it's Kittle. I think that's where they have to take advantage.
Yeah.
Kittle on linebacker safeties, Dwelly, and Juice. Like, I think he should have a big game.
See, here's his problem though, and I think it's a Jimmy problem. If you're a smart defense facing Jimmy, and you have those good corners, you don't need safety help. You just play cover one.
You can double Kittle. You can put a
Yes.
linebacker on safety over the top.
Yes.
Right.
Like,
But then
you like the man. Hey, Jimmy, you want that man-to-man coverage on the outside? Go for it. Take it. Do it. I don't respect you at all.
Right.
And I'm
So
telling
then
all
I'll
my
go
corners to
Dwelly.
squat on the in-breaking and the stop routes. End of story. So I think that's the problem here. I mean, if they can take away Kittle by doubling him and take away the wide receivers just because Jimmy won't throw to certain parts of the field, then what's next? So Kittle, I think he does have a problem. I think even though he's not getting targeted, he's still going to be looked at as all pro who needs to be doubled and can be doubled, more importantly. But I don't know. The Packers always blow this, dude. They always come to the West Coast. Like, why'd you even fly out here? Why did you come? You just embarrassed yourself on national television. That's great. I didn't pick the Packers to win this game. We're going to get to a score prediction in a minute. They always are a big letdown. They come to the West Coast and they're like, why is this on television? What are we doing here? Why are you wasting everyone's time? Anyway.
That's a viable point. I think then, if they're doing that, then you go to Dwelly. I mean, you can't double cover both.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, you went to Jawan Jennings in the red zone yesterday, last week for that very reason. I think it's Dwelly's turn. He's done so much more for the team. Okay, give me a stat line prediction for George Kittle.
Stat line prediction. Let's say 4 for 68.
Oh, 4 for 60. I mean, 68 is good, but I remember the days when he used to get like 15 targets.
And no touchdowns.
That's true. His ability to rack up yards and catches without scoring touchdowns is legendary. Shulier Whitehead says, if we go down 10 plus, do we see Trey inserted? That's a rough time to bring in Trey, right? Hey, we didn't like you very much. We said you weren't ready, but now we're down 10 on national television. We're going to go 180 and say you are ready and bail us out. I don't know.
Trey will only get inserted. If Kyle wants to do the Trey package or something like that, but Trey's only going to replace Jimmy if I think Jimmy does something like throws 3 picks or something like that. Like Jimmy's going to have to totally bomb in order for Kyle to do that.
And I think that Jimmy understands that. And I think that explains why Jimmy's game is a little bit different this year than it's been in the past. I mean, he's finally playing like a game manager. Like you could finally say, wow, he's really conservative now. He's not really, he's playing, he knows his limitations. He's playing within them. And his limitations still bother me considering what they have on the bench. But at least he's not like going out there thinking he's Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. Like, dude, what?
Like, how can we get Jimmy to play a little bit more conservative and put some let's use 3 first-round picks. Like that.
That was the plan. Everyone's trying to say, what was the plan? Boom, it worked to perfection. All you needed was to put a lot of pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo. And he's like, okay, fine, I'll finally stop throwing interceptions. Let's stop talking about him, though. Brandon Nyuk, one catch, 6 yards, 2 games. Should people put him in their fantasy lineup this week? What's he going to do?
I don't think so. He's obviously in Kyle's doghouse. So we've seen this movie before. It
doesn't end well.
No.
Here's what happens real quick. That's sorry to cut you off, but Kyle puts a guy in a doghouse, and then people are like, oh, is Kyle right to put the guy in the doghouse? And then what does Kyle do? Dig in. I got to be right. I'm right. I was right. See, I told you Ayuk was trash. I told you Pettis was trash. He usually is right, though. I mean, it's not like Pettis has flourished away from the 49ers.
Right, no, he's on the Giants, and he's not doing anything.
I'm just saying he gets more invested in proving himself right than getting the guy out of the doghouse. Like, once you're in there, that's on you, man. Kyle's not going to help you out because he's now trying to say that he's right. Hey, you are not living up to expectations, sir.
Well, to me, to me, like there is Kyle. The success of Brandon Ayuk determines whether Kyle is right or wrong. Like whether it's not on Ayuk because that's his draft pick. Kyle picked Brandon Ayuk. So ultimately, if Brandon Ayuk's success is on Kyle Shanahan, like
I will say one thing.
he doesn't get an out for that.
With Ayuk, they haven't really said what the deal is with Ayuk.
No.
But they've kind of alluded, like when they say he's doing much better this week, he's running his routes much harder. They've said things like that. And I did notice that, like, I did think he played well in camp. I thought he played better in camp as a rookie. And one thing I noticed was I thought he was kind of coasting a little bit, like didn't seem as fast. Still winning. But I kind of noticed it. I was like, what's that? Like, are you going 90%? And I think those are things that kind of annoy Kyle Shanahan, because then you have Trent Sherfield, who is like he wore his game pants every day. Like, I'm not messing around here, and would run everything as hard as he can. And there was a little bit of a contrast between Ayuk, who's like, hey man, it's just August. I'm pacing myself for a marathon. And Trent Sherfield, who's like, hey man, this is my Super Bowl. This is it. There definitely was a contrast, but I still think they're kind of overreacting to that a little bit.
Remember this. What position did Kyle play?
And what kind of receiver was he? The try-hard grinder.
What kind of receiver was Wes Welker?
The try-hard grinder.
Right. So
the special teamer, the guy who had to earn it, the guy who was not a first-round pick. Yeah, man, I could see a guy like Wes Welker, a future, like, is he borderline Hall of Famer, and got there his way, looking at these first-round picks, being like, oh, you think that's what it takes, huh? You think that's what it's not? I'll tell you right now. You think you have enough talent to coast like that? It's not. Yeah, I think we talk about Kyle's doghouse. What about Wes's? This Wes Welker. That's a big ego too.
I mean, they could pull the Dante Pettis card out and be like, listen, we did this with the receiver. Like, we'll
no problem.
And you could go to the Giants, and then you're gonna.
We don't need you. We like Trent.
Right.
We like Trent.
Right.
What do you do that Trent doesn't do? We like Trent. He doesn't drop the ball. He runs hard. He's fast.
You can go to another team and you think there too. Like, so either you fix what you need to fix here, or you'll go to another team and your career will get.
Either you play 100% in practice, or we'll stick with Trent, because he does. He's giving us everything we want from you right now. So I think that's kind of what's going on. Like, good for Trent. That time, I forget. I was a little tipsy. It was like 2 a.m. in Detroit, but I was in the lobby at the Ren Center, and I ran into someone wearing a Sherfield jersey, and it was his brother or cousin. I forget. He was hella tall. And I was like, man, Trent's been so impressive, man. He's just taking this. He's like, man, it was really cool. Anyway, I met someone from the Sherfield family, and they're very proud of him. It's a very good story. I love the undrafted guys who make it stories.
Shout out to the Sherfield family.
Shout out to the Sherfields, man. It means a lot to him. So
maybe he'll have a big game.
That's what I wanted to say. It seems to me that with no pass rush to worry about, like against the Eagles, the game plan was to get the ball out of the hands quickly and not go down the field. But against the Packers, I think they're going to want to take shots because they're going to be available, and Aaron Rodgers is on the other side. If you're game planning, scheming up a shot, is it for Ayuk or is it for Sherfield? Or is it for Debo? Or is it for Kittle? Like, Ayuk would probably be down the list, right? I think I would probably go to Sherfield first.
If Lance is in the game, it's going to be Sherfield, right?
Yeah. Because, I mean, you could call it. He could be open. He could drop it. I don't know, man. I guess yeah. Anyway, give me a stat line for Ayuk.
1 for 11.
I would like to see them get the ball to him on a shallow cross. Can we get him the ball on a shallow cross? 1. I mean, come on. I think they got to be able to use his speed and yards after the catch in a way that Jimmy Garoppolo that fits Jimmy. You can't just only send him down the field on outbreaking routes and vertical routes. Like, that's a joke. Come on. He's too good. Use his speed in this offense with Jimmy. Give him a shallow cross. Give him an end around. Give him a screen. Come on, dude. He's too good. I don't get it.
A whip route, like
something. Because look, if Jimmy's going to throw for 300 in this game, it's going to be mostly yards after the catch. That's his game. So, okay, Debo will get you some of that. Kittle will get you some of that. The other one is Ayuk. Sherfield's good too, but that's not his game. It's gotta be Ayuk. It's gotta be Ayuk. Come on, Kyle. Come on. The shallow cross. Look it up. It's got a glorious history. Your dad used to call it all the time. I mean, John Taylor, Jerry Rice, Bill Walsh. This is classic. I think it would be really good. I think if you studied up a little bit, you could use the shallow cross. They call the shallow cross X shallow cross.
You know what
Flanker drive.
I don't know if they've done it yet ever, and this might be a good week to do it. Is if they've ever put Debo in the backfield, because if you put Debo in the backfield, then you can use your receivers outside, and basically now you can run a route with Debo and get him on a linebacker.
That's fun. That's always fun. I'm really curious to see if they do that today because
right. And Debo is a threat. Like if he's in the backfield, like you can run. Like I wouldn't want him to be your feature back or anything, but you could use him sparing there. Like
the only thing with that is I covet Debo's speed so much, and I really like leveraging his downfield threat, even though you can't with Jimmy. That I want him on the line of scrimmage. I want him up.
I see what you're saying, but I just with in this game with Jimmy it's
a good idea. It's a good idea, especially if he's not beating Jair Alexander and Stokes. It's a great way to get. No, it's a great idea. I'm with you on that for sure. And you're a defensive coordinator, so you're thinking from the perspective of where my weak. If they do this, how do I don't have a response. If they put Debo in the backfield, what do the Packers do? What do? You take your linebacker off the field?
I'm thinking in terms of how can I get him away from Jair Alexander?
Exactly. Because last week what they did, because they had a similar situation. Darius Slay's a hell of a corner, and he plays for Philly. If you look at Debo's pass chart, he was basically on the Niners' left side in the slot all day, running those in-breaking routes from left to right. And I think they just moved him away from Slay. Oh, you're going to play on that one side of the field? Well, we're just going to put Debo over here. Thank you very much. And that's the thing about Debo. He can line up in the slot. He can line up outside. Wherever your number one corner isn't particularly comfortable playing, that's where he'll go.
Yep.
Right. Yep. Yeah. This dude says, Berto Mag says, need Kittle and Debo to go off for fantasy today. He needed it so much, he paid $5. I can't make him do it, but I wish I could. I hope they do for your sake. Camelot's Red and Gold said, if Kyle were pursuing Rodgers this offseason, think Kyle shoots a shot again this year with Rodgers hitting for agency with no chance for friends. This is great. Okay, the Niners win the game, and instead of Kyle walking over to LaFleur, he goes straight to Rodgers. He's like, hey, man, Tom, come on. What we think? And then LaFleur comes over, he just gives him like the
I don't know if Kyle wants that problem. I mean, Matt, like,
did you hear his answer this week when asked about this thing? With like, are you worried about a strained relationship with Matt LaFleur over this Aaron Rodgers thing? He's like, well, I was just doing my job, but really, I got a lot of friends. Like, he was like, oh.
Yeah.
like I don't know. If he's mad at me, that's on him. I was like, I thought that was a kind of a gangster answer. I like it. I got a lot of friends. Like if Matt's in his feelings, he can,
yeah, like
he can come talk to me about it or not. I don't really care. I like that a lot. Anyway, Trey Lance, prediction for him. Is he going to play in this game?
I think he will. I think they will use him in some.
You think he's in the game plan? You think he's in the script, the first 15, or you think this is Kyle? He'll get the urge. Like I asked him, I said, well, was he not in the game plan, or did you just take him out? He's like, I just didn't get the urge. Which I was like, man.
He's like, should I put? Nah, I'm not feeling it. Yeah.
Nope, not feeling the urge. Hold on, I didn't get the urge. So will he get the urge, or is this a plan?
I think he's gonna get the urge.
That's great. That's great. Well, I hope he does.
I
feel like he intentionally answers all my questions untruthfully now. Like he just gives me the weirdest answers. I just didn't get the urge. Come on. Jimmy Garoppolo said when he was in the play, they talked about that he was in the game plan for week 1. And he just, it's something I decided to do. Like, do it anytime. Just tell the truth, Kyle. Tell the truth.
I could see, I think, because if you're trying to do what you said before is get deep shots. Yeah. I don't know that you can really get those with Jimmy, but you can get them with Lance. And in order to do that, he's going to be in the game. And so, like, you could see that play that they ran with Trent Sherfield that he scored an 80-yard touchdown. You can run that in this game.
Yep. Now, to be fair to Jimmy, He ran a similar play to that against the Packers a couple of years ago where he rolled out to his left and hit Kittle coming back to the right. The ball didn't travel as far in the air, but still, if you want that play to hit and not miss, you're better off playing Trey. I mean, they've given Jimmy a lot of chances in camp and practice to throw these passes and work on them. And, it's not his throw. It's just not. It's just not.
And the Niners have had a history of torching the Packers with running quarterbacks.
That to me is another reason to play Trey Lance. Like, it's a bad defense. They don't face quarterbacks like this in their division. They've always been bad at defending this kind of a run game. If you don't play him, you may not have a dominant run game. You may have a functional thing that you can stick with like last week, but this you could just eviscerate them with like 8 yards a carry. He better freaking play. But again, I could see Jimmy going to Kyle and just vetoing this in the game plan. Be like, I don't want any Trey this week. I've beaten this team the last X times I've faced them. We put up 38 points. Give me a chance. And Kyle saying, all right, man, okay. But if you have 3 points after the first quarter, bets are off. I'll give you the first quarter. I can see, because I think Jimmy's pushing back. I think Jimmy, and I think he has a strong contingent. He's like Malfoy with his like little. He's not Malfoy, but he's got a band of followers that are like,
right.
Hey,
and Kittle's there backing him up.
We can do this. We don't need the rookie. We were there in 2019. That kind of stuff, and we've beaten this team before, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm curious. Do you think Trey Lance plays in the first quarter? If he does, God love Jimmy Garoppolo, because that's for the best of the team.
Yeah, I do.
He said stuff like, whatever's for the best of the team.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I think he will get.
I hope so.
I think he will.
If I were Kyle Shanahan, I'd be looking to take the lead early. If you fall behind in this game, you may not come back. So what you want is to drop that bomb early, bring in Trey Lance. They think you're going to run the ball. Boom, play action over the top.
You want Green Bay to think, here we go again, right? Like,
yep, absolutely. Right. You flew all the way out here. You know what it feels like, and you deja vu.
Because they're gonna come out and they're gonna be like, oh, like we need to remedy all that crap that we've been through in the past. Like we need to do that. We're 1-1. We need to get off. Or you got to shut all that ish down. And if you do that, if you win the first, like with a team like this, they're gonna start thinking, here we go again. Here we go again. And Rodgers has that personality anyways. He'll shut down. So jump on them and
jump on them. Don't do what you did last week, which was the opposite of jumping off the Eagles. Was what you did. That's what you did. And that's my thing with Jimmy. Like, he's competent and he's effective and he's efficient, but he's going to let you hang around. He's going to let the other team hang around, doing nothing. So get that big play early. I don't know how they're going to get big plays with Jimmy. I don't know. We'll see. Jimmy could go to him and say, look how well Jameis Winston played against him. Look at how well Jared Goff played against him. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. Okay, well, we're going to call shots for you, Jimmy. You got to pull the trigger. You got to hit him. If you don't, you leave us no choice.
Or, like, if you can dink and dunk them, then dink and dunk them. But in order to dink and dunk, the Packers, you're going to have to be accurate. Like, you can't have high throws on Jair Alexander. Like,
yeah. I just think the dinks and the dunks, the screen passes are more effective. You have more opportunities for big plays when the defense is backed off and worried about big if you have 8 men at the line of scrimmage, I mean, that's a whole lot you got to screen. I mean, Greg Roman used to talk about it when Harbaugh was the coach. It's like, why don't you throw to your running backs more? Why don't you screen more? It's like, well, look at the boxes we face. Yeah. Like, they're telling us we have to throw deep. That's the thing. You have to go over the top. There's only so many ways you can throw behind the line of scrimmage if the defense isn't respecting you over the top. You have to. Joe says Brandon Ayuk will show out today. Bosa gets 3 sacks.
Bosa could very well have 3 sacks.
Yes, he certainly could. Yes. Carlos says, thoughts on the Niners drafting Najee Harris round 1 and Asante Samuel round 2. Don't draft Najee Harris round 1.
No. The 49ers, I already have problems with the 49ers taking a running back in round 3.
Right.
So I'm not be down for any sort of running back in round 1. I'd
actually be okay if the Niners as an organization were like, we're never going to draft running backs, but we'll sign 3 after the draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
They get hurt so fast, no matter where you take them. Doesn't matter. They get hurt. Yeah. Oh, you took a guy in round 1, he's going to get hurt. Doesn't matter.
maybe if the 49ers were like in the opposite, like if they were in Miami's position, they had all these draft picks from all these other teams, and you have all these number one picks here and there.
Yeah.
The surplus of number one picks, maybe you do something like that, but like they're not in that position. And
I just take a quarterback. It's like, should I take a running back here?
Yeah.
No, that's just wasting money and draft capital. If you want to do that, take a quarterback because at least it's a quarterback. Take a quarterback.
And then Kyle's like, I got a wide receiver I like.
Yeah. Yeah. If I were a general manager, I would take quarterbacks more. I would take one probably every year or every other year.
You should.
I think you should. And I would take
if you don't have like Patrick Mahomes, if you don't have that guy on your roster, then like you should take one if you don't have a top 10 quarterback on your roster, then you need to take a quarterback like every year to try
also, if you're a team like Philly or Arizona and your offense is heavily reliant on the quarterback running, you need 3 of those guys because he could get hurt. I mean, you can get hurt in the pocket too, obviously, but if the guy gets hurt and your backup doesn't do anything like that, your offense is just going to suck. It's nice to be able to do some of the same quarterback zone read stuff. And I was at the farm yesterday watching Stanford, and I kind of say the guy we got, UCLA, he'd be a nice little backup for Arizona or for the Niners, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He's not great, but I kind of like him. I thought the difference between UCLA and Stanford yesterday was we had DTR and they didn't. So I'm just saying, they're out there.
This has come up, and I actually meant to bring it up in some of our previous casts, is that I've heard them talk about this when ever since in training camp when they've asked the question with defense coaches, how does Trey Lance help you prepare for running quarterbacks? And they're like, it's a world of difference because we've tried to like play a running back there before, but he can't really throw. And back to the past. Why haven't you had a running quarterback as your backup in the past? If it makes the world of difference for your defense,
right.
You had problems stopping running quarterbacks in the past. Maybe this was one of the problems is that you haven't had someone that could replicate it in.
That's a good point.
So.
Yeah. And your defense is seeing a very specific type of offense all year. That's really a throwback offense. I mean, it's under center, 2 back. You don't see anything like that around the league. What you see is spread, zone read, quarterback running around, and you have to you don't get very much prep for that on the Niners defense. And I think Saleh was trying to talk about that in the past. Like he would never complain, but he would try to just say, oh, this is our first time seeing this, and it's a little bit of an adjustment and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
honestly though, they didn't do any better of a job containing Jalen Hurts. I'm just saying. I'm still curious to see how that plays out the next couple of weeks. I don't think they're going to have any problem containing Aaron Rodgers because he's super slow.
No, I don't.
Super slow. Raymond says, what do you think about Kyle's response to your softball question about Rodgers? Why does he hate you so much? I threw the biggest softball. I was like, hey, because no one was asking any questions. I was like, Kyle, instead of saying like, what do you like about Aaron Rodgers? I was like, in 50 years, if your grandkids were to ask you, what was Rodgers like? What would you say? I thought that was kind of a cooler way to frame it. And he just looked at me like I'd asked him about his sex life or something. He was like, I don't know. I'd say that he's the best thrower of all time or tied for the best. And I was like, that's it? He was like, I don't know. I'm not good at describing. I'd say you could watch. Like, you'd really brush off your grandkids and just tell them to go watch YouTube? That's messed up, dude. They're your grandkids. I don't know, man. I don't think you like. I think
Kyle would have been like, he was all right, but check out this guy hit this pizza oven. Like,
he was pretty good, but this other guy never really got a fair chance. All right, score prediction. Who's going to win and what's the score?
I think the Niners win, I think, like 25-17 maybe.
17.
25-20.
Dang! Rodgers. Put that in your locker, bulletin board. Coach Noah Johnston thinks you're going to put up 17 points. Dang. What did he do 2 years ago? It was 7, though, right? There was 38-7. That was so good, Aaron. So good.
I just don't – the thing about it, it's like I really believe in offensive – in the importance of offensive line. And I don't think tonight will be any – I don't think it'll be so much on Rodgers as it will be just that they can't protect him. And I don't know that that's his fault.
Real quick, though, one thing with Rodgers, I've watched a lot of Rodgers. I've watched him lose a lot of times. What I don't like about him is he'll kind of look around and survey the situation and be like, I can't throw that. I got to take the sack. I'm sorry, I couldn't. Like, he'll look at Sherman and be like, well, I can't throw there. And it just wasn't there. I'm not going to go out and play like Favre and just throw a bunch of picks and ruin my numbers. I'm not going to do that. And he'll just look at the chessboard and be like, okay, checkmate, I'm out. But in this game, no Sherman, no Verrett. Even though the pass rush is good, if he sees single high at any point, he could be like, all right, I like that matchup. I like that matchup. I'm just going to throw it up and trust my guy to make a play. And that's different. The Niners haven't. I mean, when they faced Rodgers like that, they've lost when he's that confident.
Yeah.
I'm not picking the Niners to lose. I'm just saying he may be throwing down the field quickly with no conscience because he's never heard of Diamador Lenore, and he knows who Emmanuel Mosley is. He knows he can beat him.
Yeah, the Niners are in a little bit of predicament just because defense, just because they have had some issues stopping the run, and what this game plan would
require
was I would want to lighten the box and protect deep and make
two safety split, of course.
Let the Packers run the ball if they want to run the ball, and you may get killed that way. Hopefully you can stop them enough to.
Yeah, see, if I'm Matt LaFleur, I'm expecting a light box, two safeties, and I'm thinking, good, because we can't pass protect. So we're going to have to run the ball a lot in this game. And hopefully if we get that going, it'll open up a play-action passing game that will slow down the rush, and it'll give Rodgers some time to take some shots down the field. Because if we fall behind, we're just going to have to throw 5-yard outs all day, and we're going to lose.
See, that sort of game plan should, in theory, work, but you need the offense, your offense, to help you out. If Kyle and the offense are scoring, and Green Bay is running the ball here and there, and maybe you give up, but like you slow the game down a bit, then that game can work. But if the Niners offense has been looking like it has been the last 6 quarters,
so you said 25-17 with a little bit of Lance thrown in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't get you I didn't get a stat line prediction from Lance for you, but that would be a tough one. Do you think he's going to score a touchdown in this game? I do.
What, you do?
I do. I think if they're going to get beyond 20 points in this game, it's going to be because he scores a touchdown.
I'm going to say yeah. I think so. I think because initially when you asked the question, I'm thinking, is he going to take a deep shot? I mean, I would like him to, but I could see him scoring like a rushing touchdown.
He could. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say 27-21 Niners. I think the reason they're going to give up only 21 is because of that offensive line in Green Bay. Otherwise, I think Aaron Rodgers could do better. From what I saw on the film last week, the Niners secondary isn't as good as we make it out to be. Lenore's a good story, but he was getting burned deep. And the reason he didn't give up more catches is because Jalen Hurts is not particularly great right now.
I'm Lenore. I think Lenore will be a lot better as when Mosley plays, and you can really get when they have more depth on that. He'd be a really good third corner, right?
Real quick, my thing with Lenore is that he's very aggressive and he's very good, but he's not very fast. And if he's going to play like that against top level wide receivers with speed, he's going to give up big plays. Big play.
His technique has to be so sound and that's why you look for athleticism in corner, because you're going to make mistakes. You need that athleticism to help you.
He's like Jason Verrett without the recovery speed. Is how I would describe it. I mean, he plays with the confidence of Verrett. He's all over the stop routes. He's really good, but he will get beat deep. He did it in practice. That's why I would watch him in one-on-ones and I'd be like, I don't know, man. Sherfield got you deep. Ayuk got you deep. Debo got you deep. But there's a lot of things he does do well. It's just when he went up against Kes Watkins, it was who is Kes Watkins? He's a mid-round guy from Southern Miss. I mean, he's one of these Tavarius Moore, very good. Tavarius Moore. They got athletes at Southern Miss. I'm just saying. Devontae Adams isn't 4.3 speed, but he's gonna win at the catch point over Lenore, and everyone knows it. Rodgers knows it. Lenore knows it. Adams knows it. So I don't know where we got there. Got the Niners winning.
Is Mosley out tonight?
I think he's questionable. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, he was limited in practice. He should probably play. Thomas Tyler says Salah was subpar until Chris K brought his front and Woods fixed the coverages. If D'Amico's D holds up through week 5, can we consider him an upgrade? Salah was subpar. Salah fixed the run defense. I think his first year here, his run defense ranked 7th. He needed You know what else fixed Salah's defense?
Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa. I would say Nick Bosa, and then Jason Verrett. So I actually thought that Salah evolved a great a bit. We don't need to talk about this very much, but the first 2 years, he brought in an 8-man Seattle-style defensive front to stop the run, and that was effective. Year 3, he evolved and had a whole different structure of his defense to supercharge the pass rush. That was effective. And then year 4, he went to coverage and pressure and blitzes, and that was effective. And he became a really good week-by-week game planner. Yeah. That's all I want to say.
Edge, like he got his.
Why he got hired,
but he got Ford that year. Like edge play really changed his defense. I mean, if you look what he's doing with the Jets, like he doesn't have the personnel that the Niners have. Like he doesn't have the edge players that the Niners have. Like
no, he's a couple years away. Okay, we got 7 minutes left until the game starts, and I'm not trying to compete with football because I know I'm pretty, but I ain't that pretty. Sorry, I'm just saying. Javon Kinlaw's impact has it been overstated?
I think so. I don't think he's been. It's like everyone's like, oh, they're able to really anchor down against the run because Javon Kinlaw's in there shutting everything down. Like no, I saw him got moved on a double team. Like it wasn't like he made this huge. Now is he better against the run like than Kevin Gibbons? Yeah, but it's not like he was in there making like this huge impact versus the run game. He certainly has areas of improvement even in the run game, and I think now his impact was felt. He blocked a field goal. He always seems to make some sort of play. Like I'll give him I like Kinlaw. I think he's a good athlete. He's better. He's an upgrade again in the run game, but like it's not like plug Kinlaw in there all of a sudden your run game. Like the run game is.
It was a true romance quote. It absolutely was. I was waiting to see if anyone would get that. I like that movie. Sorry. Sorry.
So
sorry. No, Kinlaw. Here, real quick. When I watched the film of Kinlaw, he still does the same thing he did as a rookie, as a pass rusher. That kills me. It kills me. He just pops right up, and he's standing there, and he's basically not rushing the passer. He's kind of just like peeking around, and then when the ball goes up, he tries to bat it down. It's like that's not.
Yeah, that would. I was DMing with Jack Hammer, and I was talking about that he peels off on his pass coverage, and I'm not pass coverage on his pass rush, and that would drive me crazy as a defensive line coach because like at least give effort, at least make effort because if you just peel off, like you're taking away pressure on the quarterback. So like
he's a 2-down player. He's a hell of a nose tackle, but he's not as good as DJ Jones. DJ Jones is a better player than Kinlaw, although Kinlaw is very good at kind of taking on double teams. He can need a double team.
It looks like to me, and I tweeted a little about this morning. He's trying to execute moves that doesn't really fit his skill set. Like he's trying to stutter step. He's not that guy. He's a power guy. Like, and I saw he did. I've said all offseason, like, dude, you need to learn a long arm. And he I don't know which guard it is, but he was about to put this dude on his ass. Mm-hmm. He's got the leverage on him on the long arm, and if he rips over it or pins that outside elbow, he's got the lane. He just needs to add that extra step onto it, and then kill all these speed moves. Like if I were Chris Kosterick, I'm like, listen, you're a power guy. I want power moves and everything off of that.
Yeah, because on third down they're putting him in the A gap anyway. You're the nose tackle. Armstead is in the B gap. Like they don't trust you. They don't really think that much of you.
I saw this in the game, and I think Armstead should play on the interior on first and second more often. Armstead actually handled a double team very well, and I saw him make 2 plays. That play and another play in the run game.
It'd be interesting to see because I think most coaches look at a body type like Armstead and think, man, you're so high cut. You're really not built to take on double. I want someone who's a little squattier and a lower center of gravity. I think that was their issue with Buckner. It's like, yeah, you're a really good player, but in the wide 9, like, your body type isn't built to take on these.
Armstead, he's
very powerful. He is very powerful. He is. No, I'd be interested to see it because I can't stand him at defensive end. It's not his fault. As a 5 tech and a 3-4 where he's not setting the edge, fine. I think that's probably what he was built to be. But as a wide 9 D end where you have no, dude, no, it's not even hhis fault. But why would you ask him to do that? He can't. He's hella slow. He's hella slow.
He fits it. He fits it in the Pete Carroll's type of defense where one of your defensive ends is
350 pounds or like Red Bryant or something. Yeah. But he makes every quarterback a mobile quarterback. Everyone, all of a sudden, he can roll out to the right. Oh my God. Look at him move. Oh, yeah. Okay. So not his fault, but I'm with you on that, man. Move him inside. We got like 3 minutes left. Sean says, come on, Grant. Here is a mirror. Jeez. Why would Kyle seem, I don't know, slightly agitated or enraged? LOL. LMAO. Wide 9 Rodgers. Bosa's going to look like the GOAT tonight. Let's go, faithful. I don't exactly know what he meant. I guess he doesn't like me, that Kyle is justified not liking me. But I'm handsome. And my mom likes me. She says I'm a nice person, so I think he should like me too. My mom says I'm a good guy. TW says, your guess prediction percentage-wise, Kittle drops the first pass, Lance throws them. I really think it's 50-50. I don't know. Maybe.
I think Kittle would have I would have caught it if Jimmy was the quarterback.
How about this for a conspiracy theory? The reason that the Lance runs didn't work week 1? Sabotaged by the blockers. Sabotaged. I don't block. All right, last thing, and then look, this is our little preview for the week. Where this is not a Niner thing. It is kind of, but we're talking about like who would possibly come in and finish the job if Kyle Shanahan couldn't get it done, or just let's say Kyle is a great coach, and just from a football enthusiast perspective, who is the next offensive genius in the NFL? Who do you think?
Brady, and not when he retires. We're talking about
Joe Brady, who's freaking younger than me.
Yeah, 32. 2 years old. Joe Brady in Carolina. He was a Saints. He started out as a Saints assistant, then moved on to went to LSU.
Yeah, he became their offensive coordinator, play caller when he was in his 20s.
Yeah,
and he developed Joe Burrow.
Right, developed Joe Burrow. He
was kind of doing nothing at Ohio State. He was a big recruit, but like, what did he do before he went to Joe Brady? And what's he doing now?
Right. He transferred. He wasn't doing anything at Ohio State. Transferred to, and then they won a national championship in the SEC, and set all kinds of offensive records in college football.
He leaves. They lose to UCLA. Yada yada yada. Now
LSU stinks right now.
Yeah. Yada yada yada. Chip Kelly beats him. Okay, now he's in the NFL with Carolina.
Right, and they get an afterthought in Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold's undefeated. Now I'm not saying Sam Darnold looks like league MVP.
He looks like exactly what people thought he would be when he got drafted 3rd overall. Exactly like people thought he would look. And it's like, oh, he's only 24. All the stuff I said about Josh Rosen is happening with Sam Darnold right now. Like, don't write him off. He has talent. He's still young. He just needs the right environment. Boom. So look, real quick with Joe Brady, I don't know if his system is great, but I don't really necessarily judge head coaches on their system. You judge coordinators on their system. What's so intriguing about him is the results he has with young quarterbacks. That's rare. That is more rare than a coach with a good system.
And if you look at it, and it's not just where you add him in, it's where you take him away. You take him away from LSU. What do? They fall on their ass. Like, is Joe Burrow some kind of crazy superstar right now? No.
Nope.
So it looks like he's the difference maker.
Last thing about him too that's really cool, his father wasn't a head coach or a general manager. So it's not like he's someone who's gifted but was kind of the door was open for him. Like, who is he? He's some guy that became a offensive coordinator in the NFL by like 30 because he's good. Just because he's good. Not because he's, Mike Holmgren's son. Yeah. No, it's someone who is Lowell Cohn's son. I'm not poo-pooing. You got to use your connections.
Right. No, absolutely.
But it's always impressive someone who doesn't have that option, like Robert Saleh, Joe Brady. Very impressive. Very impressive. And this guy got in there like 10 years before Saleh. So he's having the results. He didn't get like an intentional walk to first base. He didn't get placed on second artificially. He really did this. So someone to look for. And again, Kyle, this is the Niners coach. He should be great. But if he just proves that he can't develop a young quarterback, if he's not a head coach, a lot of people would want to coach his team. I bet you Joe Brady would love to coach Trey Lance if it was a promotion. So Kyle win. Win, baby. Keep that job.
McVay opened that door for that super young coach. Like, because McVay wasn't even offensive coordinator, remember, right? He was quarterback coach.
Yeah.
And like
I think he was OC at the end. I could be
wrong. Maybe he was. Okay.
He was at the end, yeah.
But he opened the door of that super young coach. Like,
yeah. You used to have experience. Now teams are like, experience is bad. You're stuck in your ways.
Yeah.
All right, 10:02. We got to wrap this up. Sean says every time Grant asks Kyle a question, Kyle internally clenches every muscle, knowing Grant will ask what the room won't dare to. Yeah, I think honestly, I think you're right, because he has this very laid back expression at the press conferences where he's kind of chilling and leaning on the thing. And then when I ask a question, I always notice he like tenses up and his arms get really tense. And he like tries to put as much physical distance between him and me as possible. And I kind of like the fact that I ask hard questions, like maybe 1 out of 10. But usually the hard one is kind of uncomfortable and it makes the whole room go like, oh, and then I follow up. And just him knowing that I could do that, that I could take the deep shot at any time kind of puts him on his heels. It's my offensive game plan with him.
I've touted that I produce for your show, but I'm going to put my producer show hat on it. If anyone out there is a mannerisms expert, you should come on Grant's show and analyze a Kyle Shanahan press conference with Cohn,
because he's really got it all in his sleeve. I mean, he's an open book. Something got about it. He really is. Because a lot of people that make it that far in football are like very political and savvy, and they don't really tell you what they're thinking. Like Robert Saleh. Kyle's like, I don't have to do that. I'm Mike Shanahan's son. I'm brilliant. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. I'm just like, you know what I mean? Remember in Facebook with he's a little bit like Zuckerberg, where young Zuckerberg would have that business card, like, I'm the CEO, bitch. Like, that's Kyle. I'm the head coach, bitch. What are you going to do about it? Like, that's really cool. I like that. That's cool. But
meanwhile,
how hard John Lynch and Robert Saleh and D'Amico Ryans work to be, professional. And you're just like, yeah.
The thing I always thought was interesting when they had those press conferences and Kyle be answering questions, and then, like, they'll ask, like, John Lynch, like, what do you guys think about Jimmy? We think Jimmy's great, and like,
he goes straight to the ring.
Top quarterback in the league. Like
Don says Kyle is bothered by Grant because he hits on his inner truth, which bothers him. Yeah, the way I look at it is anytime you get those kind of responses from a coach or an athlete, it just means that you hit a sore spot and you're onto something, and they didn't want to go there. But it's not my job to steer them directions they want to go. Now, at this point, he's 2-0. It's not my job to grill him either. But I'm not his friend. I'm not on his team. I'm not on his payroll. So I'm there to keep it, to keep him on his toes, back him off the plate. If he's standing a little too close, I got to go high and, got to take him with the cheese high and in just to back him off.
I'll say this, and, like, in that reporter room from press conference that I was in, like, he gets all softballs. So, I mean, he's getting all these softballs, and all of a sudden there's this one guy who's like, oh, he's throwing me hard balls. Like,
dude, it's the big leagues, man. This is not slow pitch softball, even though in the Bay sometimes it seems like it's slow pitch softball. It's the big leagues. Someone has to be throwing 90-mile-an-hour fastballs a little too high, and that's what my dad used to do. I'm not as good as my dad. He really had a fastball. I have, I got some heat sometimes, little heat. Anyway,
ask Saleh how his press conferences in New York go. I mean,
dude, Kyle's lucky, man. These coaches that come to the West Coast are lucky because it's softball central out here. Although I did see Chip Kelly yesterday. I had front row tickets, which aren't necessarily the best tickets at a football game because you're like really can just see the sideline, which was very interesting watching a sideline in a football game. I was like 20 yards away from Chip, and I kept trying to make eye contact, being like, "How you like your new job, Chip? How you like when I ran you out of town, Chip? Oh, you're back? Oh, you see it." But it's like the joke's on me because he coaches my team, and I can't even get any enjoyment out of watching UCLA anymore. Although he won, it's like, yeah, it's fine, good. You almost blew it though. I was gonna leave early in the fourth quarter, but no, it was tied late, and I had to stay until the very end. That's okay. It's all right. God, Chip, you're lucky you got DTR. I like DTR. They got to draft DTR. Niners quarterback market. All right, no, we got to go watch some football, man. This was great.
Right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.